What's up, everyone? Welcome to Stay in Philly Sports History for October 1st, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. It is game day, but before we get into any of that, a couple quick housekeeping notes. Be sure to check out the latest Back to the Future. We take a look at the Scott Rowland induction into the Phillies Wall of Fame and look and see if the Wall of Fame itself is starting to get watered down. Be sure to get that wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, Back to the Future with a PH. Also, it is game day. If you haven't done so already, check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast, where they break down this week's action, make their predictions, and talk a little trash. Also available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Well, Phillies lost both games of the doubleheader. I kind of feel like I tried to watch it and just couldn't get into it. It's kind of one of those things, like, very meaningless. Nothing really is going to come out of it. Just trying to get out of there healthy. And, of course, Trey Turner gets hit on the elbow. Says he's going to be fine. It's just going to be a little sore. He'll be ready for Tuesday. So I doubt we'll see him today. Probably won't see too many of those guys at all. But the crazy part is they still don't know who they play. And it's going to be a very interesting day, very intriguing. So they're either going to play Miami or Arizona, who both clinched. Those are the last two wild cards. But if the Marlins win, the Marlins will come to Philly on Tuesday. If they don't win today, it gets a little complicated because tomorrow then the Marlins need to go back to New York to play a game or resume a suspended game. Now, that suspended game is in the top of the ninth. With two outs, the Marlins have 2-1 and a 2-1 lead. So it should be they have to travel to New York for 4 outs, basically. So it just would be very interesting to see. I guess if you're going to bet it, the odds are that we're playing the Marlins. But I guess there still is that outside chance that they lose today. The Mets have a comeback in that half an inning they have to play up in New York tomorrow, and then we play Arizona. So should be a fun time, and this is why I'm glad the Phillies clinched early so they can just sit back and relax and not have to deal with it. Union, 1-1 draw, but they did drop some points in the standings. They are now 3 points back of that second seed, firmly in fourth place. They have 3 games left, all against playoff teams, so there's still a lot of movement that can take place over the next week and a half or so. But they did get the point. They move on. 3 games left. They will be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of where and who they play. No real news on the Sixers front. There's still that smoke coming from the Drew Holiday, James Harden, Clippers sort of 3-team deal. So we'll see what happens. I have no idea I have no idea. Apparently the Clippers are still somewhat interested in James Harden. They just don't want to pay the Sixers price. And with the way things are going, I think as long as you don't take on a ridiculous contract, just get him out of here. I mean, get some draft picks. Like, I don't know what. I just don't want to have anybody to bring on anybody with like a large contract for more than a year left or anything crazy. So Darryl, Elton, do the right thing. Flyers lost again in overtime to the Devils 3-2. Kind of like the fight that this team is showing. It seems like, again, I talked yesterday about just creating a winning culture. So it looks like they're playing hard even though it's preseason, which is good. So we will kind of keep more on that as we go. Okay, it is Eagles game day. I'm going to be heading down here in a few minutes once I get everything edited and put up. But we're currently 3-2 on our picks this year. And for this, I don't know, this game, everything is screaming a close, lower scoring game. It's a division game. The Commanders had given Jalen Hurts his only loss last year in the regular season. It's Eagles-Washington. Like, that's the kind of games they play. I'm not buying it. I just really don't. I mean, this spread has been all week. We've been watching the spread. It started at 8.5, went down to 7.5, moved back to 8.5, was 9 before I went to bed last night, and it's currently at 9.5. Which movement like that, I'm staying away from the spread today. Completely staying away from it. again, and I think it's the division aspect of it. Like, I don't buy it. I think 9.5. Like, I do think the Eagles win by more than 9.5. So I will bet it personally. But like for our official play, not going to do it because it does scare me somewhat. However, again, like everything says that this game should be close and low scoring. But here's some stats for you. Washington is not very good against the run. I think they're 22nd ranked. So to me, what that says is they are going to really focus on stopping the Eagles' run game because what have the Eagles done the past few games? And I think it's going to open up, and I think you're going to see the Jalen Hurts coming out party today. I think they just roll. Like offensively, I think it's a good matchup. Like I said, and they're the worst. So if they're gonna double team and do what everybody else has done, I mean, the Eagles are gonna be able to run. But I think the Washington team is gonna really focus on trying to stop the run, which I think is gonna leave some of our receivers for some big plays. And I think I'm looking for the Jalen Hurts coming out party today. I do think they win by double digits. I'm not willing to make it our official play though. Here's the key, though, I think that's really going to get crazy. The offensive line for Washington is terrible. They've allowed the most sacks in the NFL this year, and I think you're going to see the defense coming out party as well. I think, I mean, they could get multiple sacks today. I mean, I could see 6, 7, 8 sacks today. And I just think it's going to be one of those games where Washington will keep it close. Like, it'll be one of those. It might not be the most exciting game, but I see it's going to be one of those things that all of a sudden you look and the Eagles are up 17 points going into the fourth quarter. And I don't know. So officially, we're going to go with the over. It's 42.5 right now. And I mean, I could very easily see the Eagles putting up 35. And that's just the way I'm feeling about this game. So today, the official play, we're going to go with the over. I do think the Eagles win by the 9.5, though. So play that at your own risk. But I'm going over 42.5 as our official play to try to get our record to 4-2 this year. Be sure to go to phillygoat.com. It's still not too late to get some of your Kelly Green Eagles gear. They have stuff for the Phillies postseason run. We have the Red October. They have the Believe. So go check them out. Get your Flyers and Sixers gear as they're upcoming. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. Also, I did forget to mention after the Phillies, today is the last day for the 2008 Phillies 75% off. Everything you need is in the description. Get you that shirt, access to their full archive. 2008 Phillies will follow your Twitter. And then you get access to other giveaways and tickets throughout the year. But today is the last day for that. So the information is in the description. Go check that out. $2 a month, $20 for the year. Be sure to grab it. It's definitely worth it. All right, today we're going to go to 1975. And on this day in 1975, it was the Thrilla in Manilla, the third fight in the Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier trilogy. We know that Joe Frazier fought out of Philadelphia, big part of the city, Joe Frazier's gym, the statue outside of the Wells Fargo Center. But this one was a very big, much hyped up match because obviously it was the third installment. It was for the heavyweight championship. It took place at 10 a.m. to account for all of the people around the world, specifically in the United States, who wanted to watch it. It was estimated that 1 billion people between live, closed circuit TV, pay-per-view, I believe HBO was one of the first matches HBO ever broadcast. 1 billion people to watch this. There was a lot of trash talk and build up going into it. Because it was at 10 a.m., it was even hotter than what it would have been in the Philippines. So Ali famously said he thought he lost like 5 pounds of weight due to dehydration in the fight. Widely considered to be one of the best and hardest hitting heavyweight fights ever. Ali, the champion, was able to win it in the 14th round by corner retirement. The two guys just beat the hell out of each other in this fight. Frazier ended up only fighting 2 more times before officially retiring and focusing more on coaching and the gym. Neither fighter was really the same after this fight, and Ali has admitted as much. But these were three great fights by these guys. Phillies own Joe Frazier. But on this day in 1975, Muhammad Ali defeated Joe Frazier, essentially probably ending his boxing career, even though he did fight two more times, with a 14th round corner retirement. All right, time to wrap up the Philly sports who wore it best. And yesterday it was Byron Evans winning with 50% of the vote. The rest of the vote was evenly split between Jerry Robinson and Joe Blanton. Again, I don't necessarily think you can go wrong with either one of those guys, but thank you for participating throughout the month. We had a lot of fun with this. There were some numbers, and I'm going to ask you to let me know if there's any that I may have missed that you would have liked to see. But there are some numbers that weren't covered that just, when you see them, like 92 is Reggie White. 88 is Eric Lindros. Some people might say Keith Jackson, but ultimately it's Lindros. To me, 96 is Clyde Simmons. 59 is Seth Joyner. 16, Bobby Clark. So those are why I didn't really put those numbers in, because it would have just been whatever. So let me know in the chats or whatever. Is there any number that I missed that you would have liked to have seen? But again, thank you. And I will post the final results on all my social media, probably at this point tomorrow, just so you can see where the numbers went, how your vote compared to what really happened. But again, thank you for participating. Now, for October, it's going to be all focusing on the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame leading up to that induction ceremony November 2nd. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all the members of the 2023 induction class, take a look at their 20 for 20 that they've been focusing throughout the month, and then as well as 5 current Philadelphia sports figures that I kind of pegged as future possible inductees into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. So we'll kind of do that. I'll kind of rotate through all of them. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. Just want to make sure we get all the inductees covered, all the 20 for 20, and then give you my 5 choices for who I think is going to be future Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer. And again, if you want more information about the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame and how you can help, if you think back to the interview I did with Ken Avalon on Back to the Future, he said they're always looking for volunteers and donations and things like that. So check out that interview on Back to the Future, again, wherever you get your podcast. And you can go to phillyhall.org. If you want more information about this year's induction class, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame.org as well. And I will include both of the links in the description. But today we're going to talk about Willie Puddin Head Jones for the Phillies. He is one of this year's inductees and played 13 seasons at third base for the Phillies. 7-time National League leader in putouts at third base. Seemed like he was in the top 5 for that. Great fielding percentage at third base. 6-time leader in that. Led him in assists 2 times, double plays 2 times. When he retired, he was 7th on the Phillies all-time list for putouts and 8th for fielding percentage. 2-time All-Star, was a member of the Whiz Kids team in 1950. 3rd all-time in grand slams with the Phillies, behind Mike Schmidt and Ryan Howard. And when he retired, so take a look at this. When he retired, here were his all-time Phillies rankings. First with putouts and fielding percentage at third base. We know who ended up took that. 4th in home runs, 6th in at-bats, 7th in RBIs, 9th in hits, 10th in runs. He was inducted into Phillies Wall of Fame, rightfully so if you listen to Back to the Future, in 1995. But just a good, solid guy for a long time. Another one of those guys who's a fan favorite. Puddin Head comes from a song that was back in the 50s. I think it was the 40s or 50s, but Willie Puddin Head Jones is one of this year's inductees into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. You might know a lot about his name, and we heard a lot about it early in the season because he had a 16-game hitting streak to start a season. I should know, and I forget which season it was. It may have been 1950, the World Series year. But Bryson Stott did beat that this year, hitting in 17 straight games to open the season. So there's a lot as Bryson got closer talking about Puddin Head Jones, one of the all-time best nicknames for my money. Might be something we take a look at in future months is the best nicknames in Philly sports. But today's focus is on Willie Puddin Head Jones, a 2023 inductee into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. This ceremony will take place November 2nd. Be sure to check out those links for any information on that. I'm 90% sure I am going to be in attendance. I'm just trying to figure out my ticket package I want to buy. But come hang out with me, hang out with a lot of these athletes we're going to talk about over the next month or so. But today, third baseman from the Whiz Kids, Willie Puddin Head Jones, was our focus. All right, so on this day in Philly sports history, back in 1975, it was the Thrilla in Manilla, with Muhammad Ali forcing Joe Frazier's corner to retire in the 14th round. Neither fighter were the same ever since. Phillies look to see who their opponent's going to be today. Hopefully we find out and we don't have to drag it out into tomorrow. I told you we're going with the Eagles-Washington over 42.5 in this game. I really think it's going to be the Eagles just in a rout. My lean is to take the Eagles minus the 9.5, but it's a division game. You never know. As they said in the Big Lebowski, it's a late game, Smoke. But do what you want with that information. Be sure to check out Back to the Future as you're waiting for the game to start today. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Sunday. And until next time, go Birds.